Hello, and welcome to another episode of Soft Girl Strong Mind. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about something a little controversial, might ruffle some feathers, but it's also something that I feel like it's not talked about enough. And if you're a first generation kid from immigrant parents, no matter what culture you're from, I know for a fact that you will relate to this. So, as first generation kids from immigrant parents, we have this inherited deep pressure to make it in life, to succeed in life, and to make our parents proud. And I say inherited because technically no one sat us down and told us, you have to make me proud or you have to be successful. It's just something that's bestowed on us. Like it's something that we already know we should be doing. Not because this pressure came from one sentence, it came from our whole childhood. Hearing stories of the struggles our parents went through in their home country, hearing about the dangerous journey to America, knowing the adversity and racism they had to face once they got here, and watching your parents work so hard, coming home late, working on the weekends to make ends meet. And like we've talked about before, if you're the oldest, you're the example child, so you try to be perfect. You're hyper vigilant, so you notice everything. And we also talked about parentification and how the oldest child takes on adult responsibilities. So, taking that into consideration, obviously you're going to feel pressure to succeed. On top of the fact that our own culture pushes the narrative. I mean, in Hispanic culture, we know that family is everything, that you need to respect your elders, especially your parents. And doing anything against your family's wishes is considered a betrayal. So yeah, technically no one told us you have to succeed and you have to make it, but knowing our parents' stories, the culture pressure, and if you're the oldest child, you already are hyper vigilant and trying to be perfect. It's no wonder we create this belief that we have to succeed. If we don't succeed, then our parents' sacrifice is not going to be worth it. But if you really think about it, we had immigrant parents trying to guide us to a place they've never even been. So it was so easy for them to be like, go to college, be a doctor, be a lawyer, but they don't realize like what it takes to do that. But again, when you're growing up with, your parents' struggle in the back of your head, and like I said, as the eldest daughter, you internalize everything and feel responsible for everything. Of course, you're going to develop this pressure to succeed. And honestly, it wasn't just pressure to succeed, it was fear of disappointing your parents, fear of being ungrateful, and fear of just wasting everything that they went through. So obviously growing up, I never asked myself, what do I want to do? It was always what's going to make my parents proud. And I feel like a lot of eldest daughters go through this where they go through life just trying to please their parents and never really asking themselves like, what do I want? What do I like? I don't know if you guys have seen the Disney movie Elemental, but if you're the eldest to immigrant parents, you should definitely go watch it because there is this really profound quote where the main character, okay, well, a little context. She the main character has like parents who immigrated to a new land or whatever. So her parents have this shop and she's going to inherit the shop, and her dad told her like to take care of the shop, like that's their life's worth and like that's what they were building, and they wanted to leave it for her. But growing up, she just could never get it right. Like she always got mad at customers or she would always mess something up. Like things just weren't working out for her in the shop, right? But she had this amazing talent with glass. Like she could make like these really beautiful glass sculptures. Basically, she never sees this talent as anything because she knows she's going to inherit her parents' store and she has to do it, and they already told her she has to do it, right? So the point is, she says this quote because there's a point where she's like torn between pursuing her talent or trying to make it work with her parents' shop, even though, like I said, everything would go wrong for her when she was like in the store. And she says this amazing quote. She says, the only way to repay a sacrifice so big is sacrificing your life too. It's just such a good quote. And it's what first generation kids go through. Our parents make this big sacrifice for us. So the only way to repay our parents is to sacrifice our own life. So when I heard this quote for the first time, it made me realize like this is exactly how I felt. Like this is exactly what I'm doing. And that's the way I grew up. Every decision that I would make was always with my parents' sacrifice in mind. And this is where I'm going to ruffle some feathers because I had a little realization not that long ago. And I thought about it and I was like, hold on. My parents came to the States years before I was even born. So technically, they came for their own reasons, for their own life, for their own accord. I wasn't even a thought when they came. So the whole like they sacrificed a lot for me doesn't really apply. You know what I mean? Because I was born way after they came to America. And I want you to really think about it. When did your parents have you? If you were born in a foreign country and you came with them as a kid, as a little kid, then yeah, sure. You know, they sacrificed to give you a better opportunity or whatever. But for a lot of first generation kids, we were born here and we were born years after our parents came or months after our parents came. So technically the whole I sacrificed everything for you doesn't really apply when you think about it that way. So it's really no one's fault. Like I said, my parents never told me I have to be someone for them. It was just the fact that I am the oldest daughter and I'm hyper vigilant, a perfectionist, high achiever, self reliant, hyper independent, that I internalized their story and made it my responsibility to be someone for them. But as an adult, when I realized this, when I realized, oh my God, that pressure of I have to succeed was made up from me because my parents never told me. And technically, they came here years before I was even born. So that whole I have to make it to make their sacrifice worth it was false. And it was so relieving. It felt like a generational chain like broke. And it was relieving letting go of that pressure of I owe my parents a life that I didn't want. And obviously, this doesn't mean I'm not grateful, and it obviously doesn't mean I don't love my parents. It just means their sacrifice gave me choice, not a debt. So, if you're a first generation kid from immigrant parents and you feel that pressure of, I have to succeed, I hope this alleviates a little bit of that pressure and it starts making you think about what is real, what was taught, and what was made up. Because let me tell you, when your identity is built around making your parents proud, you lose connection with yourself. And that is what I experienced. That's why the oldest child ends up struggling with people pleasing, being overworked and not being able to say no, burnout, not knowing what they actually want because they keep chasing their parents' dreams, which then leads to betraying yourself, not knowing your worth and not having capacity for more, which makes it hard to set boundaries. It's just so much, too fucking much. And I feel like a lot of people live like this. A lot of people live trying to repay something that no one actually ever asked them to repay. And this is one of the main reasons why I entered survival mode because I was chasing a dream that wasn't mine. I was chasing a dream for stability, validation, and out of fear, really. And it took a lot of unlearning and a lot of big girl decisions to finally make life feel like it was my own again. And that is what I want to share with you guys. So if any of this resonated with you, any of the first generation struggles, having immigrant parents, if you were chasing a dream that wasn't yours, or if you too feel that pressure of, I have to succeed to make my parents' sacrifice worth it, please comment down below. I would love to hear your stories because it's something that we don't really talk about a lot. So let's get the conversation started and I will see you guys next time.